9/11 is a part of me. It's made me who I am now.
I'm Robert De Niro. Join me for 9/11, 10 years later.
CBS is proud to present 9/11, 10 years later, an historic eyewitness account from inside the World Trade Center. This special presentation is brought to you by State Farm with limited interruption. This intimate portrayal of a life and death struggle for survival contains some strong language. Parental discretion is advised.
On this 10-year anniversary of September 11th, there is pain and remembrance in the images that will never diminish. Yet there is also a sense of resolve, of renewal, and of hope. For those whose loved ones were innocent victims and selfless heroes in New York City, in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, and in our nation's capital, the loss remains deep and unyielding. To their families and to the courageous survivors, we offer our thoughts, our prayers, and our support. We watched in awe as the first responders rushed into harm's way on that day. We salute their heroism, and we also have profound gratitude for those dedicated emergency workers who even tonight stand at the ready. It's in their honor, those past, present, and future first responders, that State Farm brings you this compelling and historic documentary. We hope you're sharing this program with those you hold dear. The next time you see a firefighter, a police officer, a paramedic, or any other first responder, we hope you'll tell them how grateful you are for what they do.
Tonight, a new chapter in the most important story of our time.
World Trade Center, we took a hit on that last explosion.
One firehouse.
We gotta get everybody out! Let's go!
Three filmmakers.
I saw the second one hit the other tower.
In a place few have ever seen. On a day you'll never forget.
Command post from Tower 1. Evacuate the building.
9/11.
Ten years ago today, September 11th, 2001, our country was rocked to its foundation. Since then, so much has changed for the country, for the world. Here at the World Trade Center, the rebuilding is well underway. The memorial pools honoring the nearly 3,000 victims were dedicated just today. So much has also changed for the heroes who came rushing here to save lives on 9/11. I'm Robert De Niro. When two French brothers and a New York City firefighter set out to make a film about a rookie fireman, they never imagined they'd become eyewitnesses to the defining event of our time. They followed the men of Engine 7 Ladder 1 and captured the only footage inside Tower 1 on that terrible day. That footage remains one of the most important historic records of the tragedy and heroism of 9/11. Understandably, some of the language was rough, but we think you should witness the events of that day as they really happened. We've been talking to these firefighters for almost a decade. We're still in 2 wars overseas. Osama bin Laden has been killed. What these men have to say now about the country and their own lives is profound, emotional, complicated. This is the survivor tree. It made it through the attacks, a symbol of hope, like the gleaming One World Trade Center still rising. But while the men of Engine 7 Ladder 1 also find themselves looking up, they may never be able to stop looking back.
When you work in a firehouse 7 blocks from the 2 tallest buildings in New York, you get to know every step, every staircase, every story.
Morning, Jim. Couldn't get too close to that razor blade.
I'm James Hanlon. I'm a filmmaker and was a New York City firefighter at Ladder 1, downtown. During the summer before 9/11, there were days we'd go to the Trade Center 5 times in a single shift.
10-4, we're going to also send you some help.
My point is, we knew those towers as well as anybody. But nobody expected September 11th.
Go to the Trade Center.
On that day, guys from my firehouse, my best friends, were some of the first firefighters into Tower 1 after the plane hit. What they did that day, what everyone there did, was remarkable. And almost as remarkable, it was captured on videotape, inside the tower, beginning to end. And tonight, you'll see all of it. The tape was shot by 2 brothers, Jules and Gideon Naudet.
Holy shit.
They're documentary filmmakers and old friends of mine.
There is always a witness for history, I guess. That day we were chosen to be the witness.
The strange thing is, the tape, the whole story, it kind of happened by accident.
I mean, we didn't mean to make a documentary about 9/11.
We wanted to make a documentary about a firefighter. That's how the whole thing got started.
9, 10, 1, 2, 3.
More to the point, the plan was to follow a rookie. On the job, we call them probies.
The idea was to show how a kid, almost, become a man in 9 months.
My name's Paul Denver. John Carroll.
Antonios Benetatos. Tony for short.
I was a police officer.
For a while, I was a pizza man, actually, an Irish pizza man in the Bronx.
This is my first job. It sounds kind of cheesy, but I always kind of wanted to be a hero, and this is really the only thing you could do that you can do that.
Immediately, we're like, okay, this is the kid. This is the kid. Let's go.
We got Tony assigned to my firehouse, one of the biggest in the city. It's Ladder 1, plus a whole other company, Engine 7. They're guys who fought some of the worst fires you can imagine.
What's up with that shirt? What? What's the matter?
Soon, they'd face the unthinkable. Question was, would Tony be ready?
I'm terrified. This is what I want to do, but it's scary. You know, I'm still worried about how I'm going to actually react when there's fire flying over my head.
Thing is, when you're a probie, what you're supposed to do,
We got to do the sheets. We change the sheets in the mornings.
is pretty much everything.
More news and traffic coming up. It's 6:22.
Get all the wheels, then we start up top and we wash the rig down.
I think I'm doing decently. You know, I'm still waiting for a fire, that's all.
Engine, ladder.
Should we grab that big long thing from the back too?
Tony was nervous, of course, terribly nervous. And as the days would pass, Tony, waiting for his first fire, wanted to prove to the other guys, and even more to himself, that he was going to be a real great fireman.
We're gonna break your chops till you laugh about it.
Right.
Because that's how we do it.
It's all part of learning how to handle people and situations.
Now, say you got up there now, got your helmet on, your bunker gear, and you got to get your mask on. How you going to do that without letting go?
I don't know.
Okay, stop moving, guys. Hot in here, hurry up. Not bad. Payday today, baby.
Yes. For 2 weeks, I got $672.25.
You gotta be kidding me. You couldn't even buy a six-pack with that. Holy crap.
If I wanted to get rich, I would have become a lawyer. But I wanted something that I'd be able to live with for the rest of my life. This I can live with.
A lot of the guys feel that way.
You need to get up in the morning and look yourself in the mirror and say you're doing something with your life.
Somebody's in there. Hit the door.
You do your job, you risk your life to help people. And to be part of a family at the firehouse.
How you doing, Jimbo, huh? Doing pretty good? Yeah?
It's been 4 weeks, I think, 5 weeks, something like that. And I'm still no fire. But it'll come. Probably when I'm asleep and not ready for it. That's when it'll come.
It's 2:30 in the morning, bro. You can sleep. You can.
All right.
Trust me. When the alarm goes off, they'll come and get you.
Okay. Spray water. They're all like that. It's going to be a fun 20 years.
Hey, there's fire over here. Here's the fire, see? Stretch a line, put out the stakes.
By the end of August, we knew that we had a great cooking show, and there were no fires.
But every time we would talk with some of the senior guys, they always told us, well, be careful what you wish for.
Yesterday, a 27-year-old firefighter, Staten Island, he was stationed, went to a job and he passed away. We'll go to the funeral on Saturday, and what can you say?
At the time, we didn't think there could be anything worse than losing a single firefighter. I mean, looking back, we were kind of innocent, especially Tony.
A bunch of the guys were talking about what different parts usually get them at the funeral. When the coffin went past, that was a little rough. I don't know.
I know, I hope it's my last one.
Go straight up right now. There's a lot of things going on at all times, you know? You have to be on the top of your game.
Right.
There's a lot of things to think about, you know? Tunnel vision, focus, really, because that's what's going to keep you alive, and that's what's going to give you the opportunity to help anybody else.
Right.
Fire or no fire, Tony had learned a lot that summer.
Bring him up, get him over the roof, make sure...
Sure, he had a ways to go, but we'd teach him. Far as we knew, there was plenty of time. A few days later, Jules cooked a French dinner for the guys. At least he tried to.
Decided to cook leg of lamb.
I think he cooked one, and we really needed at least 5.
Where's Frenchie? A couple more meals like this, we'll be able to share shirts.
We stayed up late, just telling jokes and busting chops.
This is the best part of the meat.
Even though the guys were making fun of us because we didn't cook enough, we were all having a great time. We're getting accepted.
It was really a great night. Little did we know.
It was the night of September 10th.
This intimate portrayal of a life and death struggle for survival contains some strong language. Parental discretion is advised.
Beautiful day today, sunshine throughout, low humidity, really a splendid September day. The afternoon temperature about 80 degrees, great weather for the primary election. Tonight, clear and cool, low 60 in Midtown.
It's begun to sound like some sort of a cliche, but really, September 11th started out like every other day. I was off that day. 13 guys from my firehouse were on.
Around 8:30.
Engine, ladder.
I believe the run came in.
You get the run for the gas leak, or an odor of gas in the street, actually, I think it was.
It's just Lispinard and Church, odor of gas.
Yeah, I don't think anything of it. You get on the rig, you go, you say, all right, it's an odor of gas.
Jules was riding with the battalion chief, Joseph Pfeiffer, videotaping.
It was just another call, and I'm riding with the battalion chief.
We checked the area with meters, and it was kind of routine.
It was 8:46 in the morning. That's when this stopped even resembling a normal day.
Right then and there, I knew that this was going to be the worst day of my life as a firefighter.
Go to the trade center.
Immediately, I knew this wasn't an accident.
Oh, my God. That looked like a direct attack. What?
Chief Pfeiffer made the first official report.
We have a number of floors on fire. It looked like the plane was aiming towards the building. Transmit a third alarm. We'll have the staging area at Vesey and West Street.
Everyone we was passing was looking up. It's like the world just stopped.
We are just currently getting a look at the World Trade Center. We have something that has happened here. Flame and an awful lot of smoke from one of the towers. Whatever has occurred has just occurred within minutes, and we are trying to determine exactly what that is.
As we swung around in front of World Trade, my mind tells me, wow, this is bad.
What do we do? Like, what do we do for this?
We park right under the awning of One World Trade Center. Chief Pfeiffer puts his gear on, and I remember asking him, Chief, can I come in with you? I want to come in with you. And he says, yep.
Yeah, you stay with me.
Come in with me, never leave my sight.
Who got the chair?
I go in, and I hear screams. And right to my right, there was 2 people on fire, burning. I just didn't want to film that. It was like, no one should see this.
Pfeiffer was the first chief into the building. Right away, a guy from the Port Authority told him the damage was somewhere above the 78th floor. But all you had to do was look around. It was obvious. Something had happened right there in the lobby.
You just saw that all the windows were blown out.
The lobby looked like the plane hit the lobby.
Later, they'd figure out that flaming jet fuel had shot straight down the elevator shaft.
All of this damage was done already. People was all over the place. So you knew it was going to be worse when we got upstairs.
Flames are shooting out. Smoke is pouring out.
I want you to get an engine and team up. Let's get an offside line. Walk to 7. Okay, I want you to go any higher than 70.
My main concern was we had 20 floors of people above. And we had to figure out a way to get them out. As it turned out, we had no usable elevators.
With the elevators out, there was only one way to get up there. Walk.
Companies come in. You see them with a concerned look on their face. And they're sent up.
A firefighter in full gear, carrying 60-something pounds of hose and equipment. Takes about a minute to climb one flight of stairs. These guys were looking at 80 stories just to get there. Then they'd start working.
I felt the mood that we were going to put the fire out. Everyone seemed to be confident. I know I was.
You basically looked at it and said, okay, we got 10, 20 stories of fire. We'll deal with it. We'll get up there. We'll get to it.
There are fire crews just screaming into this area from every conceivable direction.
By this time, some of the top chiefs in the department had joined Chief Pfeiffer, running the command post, sending guys upstairs.
One of the men who went up was Lieutenant Kevin Pfeiffer. He was in charge of Engine 33 and was the chief's brother.
I just remember we both looked at each other, said a few words, but it was more the look with a real concern that this was going to be something tough.
It's going to be a tough job. It's going to be a long job. They'll put it out. That's what they do.
The last time Jules had seen his brother was an hour ago. at the firehouse. Far as Jules knew, Gideon had followed Tony, the probie, into the tower.
So for me, my brother is going up the stairs.
It turns out, Gideon was with Tony.
Engine 7, ladder 1. This is firefighter Bernatados.
But Tony was still at the firehouse.
No, I was off duty.
And now he'd been ordered to stay there.
Everybody's been recalled. All available units must come back to the firehouse.
While Tony tried to keep up with the phones,
this is firefighter Bernatados.
Gideon took his camera and started walking down towards the trade center. He was sure his brother was inside, and he wanted to get to him.
What really sticks in my mind is passing by the people and filming them and filming their astonishment. And remember tilting the camera back and forth between the people and the tower in front of me.
Towers of the World Trade Center have been hit by aircraft. Both are in flames.
There is black smoke coming from both of the towers. It's a horrific scene here.
Mayday. There were two planes. I saw the second one hit. It hit the other tower.
All we knew was that a second plane hit, and we had a lot of people trapped.
Stay together. You know what's going on. We're just going to have to walk. There's no way to go. Second plane is motherfucker. All right.
Now the Chiefs would have to set up a whole other operation over in Tower 2.
I'm going to send him up. I got no chief up there.
When the second plane hit, that's when you could see fear.
Both of them are on fire.
You could see it in everybody's eye.
Is it a plane or a bomb? You saw a plane going? A plane went straight into the building, right there. Boom! In the whole building. What are those people going to do? On the second one? All the elevators are blocked out. Yeah. Well, the staircases must still be, right?
Stairs were crowded. People were coming down burnt.
Upstairs in Tower 1, the guys from my firehouse were now 10 floors up and climbing.
If we did talk, it was to the people coming down, trying to comfort them, tell them it's all right, get out, stay calm.
I wound up finding a woman in the C staircase. Her arms were all burned. She was just sitting there, basically in shock. So I picked her up under her arms, and I put her in with a group of guys, and I asked the group of guys to, you know, take it down.
I knew we had to get up to help people. We had to get up there.
People pretty much said, why are y'all going up there? Get out.
Their concern was to get everybody out. That was the key. As much people out as possible.
Most of the people in Tower 1 came out on the mezzanine above the lobby. Then they'd get out through another building.
All right, I want to use the lobby of 7 as a triage.
The Chiefs didn't want anyone going through the lobby doors. First, it was because debris was falling outside. Then, it was people falling.
You don't see it, but you know where it is.
What's that?
And you know that every time you hear that crashing sound, it's a life which is extinguished. It's not something you could get used to. And the sound was so loud.
I just remember looking up, thinking, how bad is it up there that the better option is to jump?
The FBI is now investigating reports of a plane hijacking before these crashes we're telling you about at the World Trade Center towers this morning.
Pieces of the building and the planes actually landed blocks away. Gideon was walking with his camera when he found a chunk of the plane engine that had crashed completely through Tower 2.
Don't be kicking stuff over here. This is evidence. No, you don't kick it. All right, just get out of the area. Just go. This is evidence. You're kicking stuff. What's the matter with you?
That was as close as Gideon would get to the Trade Center, without a firefighter anyway.
So I decided that the smartest thing to do was to slowly walk back to the firehouse and find a way to go to Jules.
We're just getting word now. One of the two planes was hijacked after takeoff from Boston. This is
two airplanes have crashed into the World Trade Center in an apparent terrorist attack on our country.
We now have reports of a fire at the Pentagon. A fire at the Pentagon being reported this morning.
I was just saying that officials are calling this an act of terrorism. They're saying that's clearly what it is, clearly not an accident.
Arriving back at the firehouse, and Tony is still alone, and he has no clue of what to do.
The Pentagon's on fucking fire? War. This is war.
And just by listening to him, freaking out and swearing and behaving like I've never seen him behaving, Tony was expressing what we all felt.
I can't believe the fucking Pentagon. Somebody has balls.
Tony just wanted to go there.
In the lobby, the chiefs were trying to run the largest rescue operation any of them had ever seen.
You got a phone that's working?
I think the entire world knew more than we did. Everybody had seen the attacks. Everybody had seen the tower burning.
De New York, un avion s'est encastré dans une des deux.
Had seen the Pentagon. For us, we didn't have a clue.
On top of everything else, just talking to the guys in the stairwells was tough.
Fort David to Battalion 7.
The tower's internal communication setup had been knocked out by the crash. That left fire department radios.
Suddenly, you have hundreds and hundreds of firefighters that have radios. Seems to become more and more difficult.
Is there anyone in this car? Is there anyone in this car?
You had one guy from the WTC who was trying frantically to reach anyone on the elevators.
69 car. Anyone in this car? Oh, is there anyone in this car?
And going through the list,
Hello, is there anyone in this car?
and there's about 98 elevators in the World Trade Center.
If you can't speak,
In the middle of all this, suddenly an elevator opens up. And you see people not having a clue of what's going on, because they've been stuck in there since the first plane hit. I was seeing the look on the firefighters. It was not fear, it was what's going on. Disbelief. That made me panic a little bit. That made me panic. was the first time I had seen Father Judge, the chaplain, as he's called.
He was in the lobby with us, and I could tell that he was praying. You know, Father Judge, he would at least make eye contact with you and kind of give you a reassuring look. That wasn't occurring, almost like he knew that this was not good.
This is a dangerous way to go out.
Back at the firehouse,
What's up?
off-duty guys were starting to show up.
You know, we're just waiting right now.
What's that?
We're just waiting right now.
Tony was, he just had one thing in his mind.
This is bad.
To go there, and he couldn't.
Alarms right away.
And that's when Chief Burns arrived.
I need a cup of coffee.
Larry Burns joined the fire department in 1957. He retired in 1998, a battalion chief.
I couldn't wait. I had to get down there. Because you know what? They're my firefighters. It's my building. It's my city. Leave your gear all together, get a flashlight, and a bottle of water.
Okay.
I remember Tony asking me to bring him some gloves, medical gloves.
A box of gloves. Go grab a box of gloves.
And by the time I found them and rushed back, they were gone.
The probie and the retired chief were lost in the crowd, headed down to the Trade Center.
I think at that point, the lobby was pretty empty. There was just a few of us in the lobby, and we were discussing tactics.
This is Tower 1. This is Tower 1. Put a big 1 here.
Some of the outlying companies didn't know what Tower 1 was and Tower 2. So we were just trying to help them out by writing it on the desk to make it obvious to people.
It was just before 10 o'clock. A little over an hour since the first plane hit. Firefighters from all over the city were inside those towers. Hundreds of them.
I remember I'm filming Chief Pfeiffer, and he's on the radio.
Situation that started bad just gets worse and worse and worse. The World Trade Center, South Tower, which was hit by a plane and racked by an explosion approximately an hour ago, has totally collapsed.
What happened?
If you're just joining us this morning, you're in for a horrific surprise.
The scene here is just one right out of one of the movies you would see in Hollywood. People walking around with cell phones in tears, holding their heads, looking up at what's left of the World Trade Center, and just shaking their heads in disbelief.
Out on the street, everyone knew what just happened. The South Tower was gone. They saw it collapse and ran.
I waited. Time slowed down, and everything became pitch black.
Everybody all right?
Yeah, I'm okay.
How's the way out of here?
And then realized, okay, I'm not dead.
Yeah, right here.
So let's turn on my floodlight on top of my camera.
All right, come on down this way. Yeah, let's get out the way we came in. Come on back. Everybody down.
Inside the Trade Center, all Jules and Chief Pfeiffer knew, all anyone knew, was that something had gone terribly wrong.
They asked me, you with the light, to help us out.
We gotta get everybody
So it was pointing my light wherever they needed.
Where's Chief Cowan? Right here. Where's Chief Cowan?
I remember seeing Chief Pfeiffer.
Command post from Tower 1. To all units. Evacuate the building. Command post to all units.
He gave it right away, very calm, didn't wait. And it was, for him, it was a precaution. It was, okay, something wrong is happening. Let's get everybody out.
Where's that flashlight?
From the tone of his voice, I knew that it was no normal thing. I knew it was time to leave.
I remember saying to the guys, well, we're on our own now.
And for the first time, I looked in someone else's eyes and saw fear. Which you don't see with the firemen. We orderly evacuated. It was such a long walk, 21, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13.
I was going down the stairs. I can remember a fireman resting on the landing and telling them, you know, we've heard a mayday, get out of the building. And, I don't think they, a lot of them, I know for a fact, did not take it serious.
I was not even consciously filming. I was just had my camera by my side and pointing the light wherever they needed my light to actually help someone. And then I realized it was Father Judge.
Hey guys, here we need a hand here.
We saw him lying at the base of the escalator where we were. And I removed his white collar and I opened up his shirt. And I remember checking for his pulse and realizing at that time he was gone.
All right, we got 4 guys. Yeah, I got it. Top of the escalator. Top of the escalator? Top of the escalator.
After that, we had to figure out how to get out of where we were.
Because if you go out this way, right where we are now, people are still jumping, debris still falling, and it's too dangerous. You cannot go out this way.
From World Trade Center, we took a hit on that last explosion. Which way?
Chief Pfeiffer tells the people carrying Father Judge, okay, stay here.
Which way?
I told him that I'll be back and wait here, and I'll see if the bridge is still here.
Chief Pfeiffer went to check one of the footbridges leading out of the Trade Center. If it was still standing, it'd be their best way out.
Did you hear what happened with the other tower? You see the tower collapse? The top or the whole thing?
Looks like the whole thing.
We'll head down together.
Without
And now I wonder for the first time if Jules is still alive. I never thought about it before.
Honey, it's a terrible, terrible day. I'm sure they're happy.
I realized that Jules could be dead at that very moment. I had to find Jules.
Gideon hitched a ride with 3 off-duty firemen, determined to get to the Trade Center the only way they could, in a pickup truck.
You shouldn't have even come in here, man.
Battalion 1 to Division 1.
We walk and we walk and we walk. And there are maydays being given, and we start to figure out, okay, it's much be worse than we think, because you cannot have that many maydays and all that dust and that noise.
That's when I felt the danger for the first time. It was all around you. I mean, every single cell of your body was telling you, you should not be here. The scenery was radically different. I mean, it was this white powder everywhere.
Take yourself as mask. Get masked, we get an extra cylinder, and I want to go in.
Just a few people here and there. And this kind of silence.
You have ambulances straight down.
Of course, there's no word on casualties.
You have ambulances straight down.
But suffice to say, the loss of life presumably profound.
Ambulance straight down. Ambulance straight down. Hoorah!
Of course, at this point, everyone's concern is just getting north, getting away from the World Trade Center, as well as finding out where their families are.
The South Tower of the World Trade Center just minutes ago collapsed to the ground. Only one tower is standing at this point.
I have a direct line of sight to what is left of the World Trade Center. The fire continues to burn. I can see the flames through the thick smoke.
By this time, Chief Pfeiffer had found a safe exit and tried to radio the men in the lobby. No answer.
So we walked across the bridge back towards the Trade Center. Still trying to call on the radio and not getting through.
The guys that we had left there, they're not there anymore.
They had already gone out another way, carrying the body of Father Michael Judge down the street to St. Peter's Church. They laid his body on the altar. Father Mike's death certificate is number 00001, the first official casualty of the attacks. The chief, his aide Eddie Fahey, and Jules walked outside, underneath the footbridge they just crossed, and into a scene that none of them could even comprehend.
And there's debris everywhere. There's dust covering the entire place. And we look, and the tower's here. So we say, okay, probably to something else. The tower is nice, it's standing. The other one, we can't see it, but it's probably just, on the other side, and no one tells us. We have no clue. So we walk north.
Just trying to figure out what took place here, and then try to gain some control. And then was it just a sense that this wasn't a good place to stay?
Chief Pfeiffer's priority was to set up a new command post and find his men. Right now, they were coming down the stairs.
At some point, I started to run. I don't even know if I was touching stairs on my way down. When I got about to 3 or 2 is when I started to think of my family, So I got to get out of here.
When we reached the lobby, I joked about it. I said the command post was abandoned. The board was set up and nobody was there. I said, oh, this is not a good sign.
I knew there was nothing I could really do. I mean, I was not a fireman. But as a cameraman, yes, there was something I could do. And it was to document what was happening.
Strange enough, the only thing that was my preoccupation was to clean my lens.
Jules was with Chief Pfeiffer, who was plotting his next move. The firefighters from my house had reached the lobby and scattered.
You know, kind of walking at this point. We knew we were out of the building, felt we were safe.
Unfortunately, there were people jumping out of windows. You could see them hitting the ground all around you, debris hitting the ground.
Get yourself accounted for with Chief Tory down at staging. Let's move. Come on, officers.
Basically, everybody was standing right in the shadow of Tower 1. It was 10:28 in the morning.
And this huge roar.
And I don't even have time to think at that point. I just run. Then I feel someone jumping on top of me, and then the dust.
At that point, I realized that I was going to die.
We need help.
And the only thing I could think about was Jules. And I remember telling myself that if I would survive that, I would be a better brother.
Let's go before the car blow up. Come, keep this way.
And it's dead silence. It's nothing. No radio calls, no sound, nothing. And I feel the person who was on top of me get up.
Get out of here. You with me? Yeah.
And I recognize it's Chief Pfeiffer's voice. And I just realized it's just, it jumped on top of me to protect me from all this. Chief Pfeiffer said, okay, let's go now. And we get up. The dust starts to clear because the wind was blowing in the opposite direction.
After that, it was just trying to literally walk around the block and regroup and walk back to the scene and see what we could do.
Holy shit.
It was the most surreal scene I have ever seen. I cannot describe what took place.
It is a scene just not to be believed. The smoke's still billowing. What we do have is a lockdown. You can't get in, you can't get out, you can't go up, you can't go down.
I see that I'm still in the middle of the street, and I see there is a little deli. Seems to be open in the corner.
Yeah, we're getting O2 now. Oh, okay. Come on, guys.
A lot of people injured. Firefighters, bloody nose, things like that. then it hits me, but now where is my brother?
Go back here.
I start realizing that I've probably lost my brother. So I try to go back to the World Trade Center. I need to go find my brother.
Where are the guys?
I have no idea. I was with Chief Pfeiffer. And I'm in the middle of the street walking, and a cop approached me and says, you know, who are you with?
I'm with the chief of Battalion 1. Oh, you're Battalion 1? You got ID? I don't have ID. I have my letter from the commissioner.
Take your letter and your camera and get out of here. All right? Go.
So I go back up, walk north, not really knowing where I'm going.
No, they're making a documentary on the fire department.
Come on, this ain't fucking Disneyland. Let's go.
And after a while, I said, you know, there's nothing I can do here. I need to go back to the firehouse. Maybe they'll have some news, and maybe he's already back there. But at that point, I think he's dead. And it becomes too overwhelming.
It's not easy being a survivor. Little to little, the guys started to come back, one by one.
I can't explain why I'm here and there's so many dead. Very emotional. A lot of guys are crying.
So many thoughts and emotions.
We lucked out. We were in one. Two fell first, and then they told us to get out. Two fell first? Two fell first. I can't figure this out. One didn't fall first. That's why they were getting us out.
We got to call our loved ones, tell them we were okay.
He was fucking sick. But we just got out. We just got out. I got 2 blocks, and I'm like, I'm still not far enough. I got to almost this thing.
You know, you just needed to be with the guys, you know.
I couldn't get back in. Let me up.
I was never so glad to see firemen in my life. It was a great thing to know that people were surviving this.
I thought you guys were dead. Not the only one. I thought I was dead.
That was the scariest thing when I came out.
It was like, oh my God, am I glad to see you.
We were the lucky ones.
I don't think it's luck. I mean, it's a miracle that we're here.
Miracle isn't a word you hear much from firefighters, especially not on that day. But what else could you call it? One guy after another was making it back. Safe.
Down here looking. I got thrown into 2 ambulances. We bolted, we ran.
I can't believe we all made it out. How did we make it out of that building? 30 seconds. Another 2 flights higher.
One guy from the firehouse came to me, and I asked him, you know, have you seen Jules? I mean, do you know where he is? And he looked at me and he said, yes, he's behind you. And I turned over, and Jules was there in the firehouse. I didn't even see him coming in. And it was like meeting for the first time.
moi, après, j'étais en vie, je savais pas si tu étais dans le camion, et je les voyais pas.
I asked Jules if he's all right. He tells me yes. He tells me that he was all that time in the lobby.
I tell him, I know now what it's like to think you're going to die. And then I tell him, I got the first plane and I filmed, and do you have enough tape?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Good to see you. All right, you okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, close?
Under.
Yeah, okay,
No,
good.
Fine.
Right, we're glad you're all right.
And it definitely was a miracle, you know?
Fuck, man. We're worried about you guys. You don't know what happened to you guys. Oh, God. Everybody's all right. Everybody's accounted for.
Right here.
Is that everybody? Right here. Everybody's accounted for.
Everybody come back one by one at the firehouse,
All right. What's up, Patty?
except one.
Did you see Tony over there, Benetados?
Tony.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Here we were, all accounted for, except for Tony. Everybody was wondering about Tony.
There is not anything recognizable of what were the two trade towers, nothing standing out from those clouds of dust at this time.
You guys were in the building? Yeah.
Oh, that day changed everything.
I think I got fibers in there. You got fibers in there.
When I came back that day to the firehouse, one firefighter came to me and he said, you know, yesterday you had one brother. Today you have 50.
Good to see you.
It's hard to even describe the emotions in the firehouse that day.
And it was just like, whoop, you're on the ground rumble, and it was just fucking debris was just chasing you. We were running, hauling ass. I mean, fucking.
On one hand, you're celebrating.
Very frightful day, man. Very happy to be here.
Somehow the guys from our house, they got out.
Come on the engine.
We lost so much in that 2-hour period.
How you doing, all right?
And we felt like we got the hell kicked out of us.
Shot, I don't know what to do, man. Go back down there or what? Fucking get shot.
At the same time, we knew hundreds of firefighters, thousands of people had to have died in those towers. And every hour that passed, we were more certain Tony Benetados was one of them.
Hey guys, Deputy Chief Hill called. 1st Division, he doesn't want anybody else down here right now.
But the truth is, the guys had to go back, had to start digging for survivors. I had to go back and find the kid.
It's gone, man.
17 down?
I got down there just as 7 World Trade finally collapsed.
Hey, Rick, they've been going live with you the whole time.
No sign of Tony anywhere. It had to be almost 6 o'clock, 9 hours after everything started, that Tony just walked in.
within like a daze. And they were all like, hey, it's Benetados, you're all right.
What's wrong with your hand? Anything? No. No?
How you doing?
You okay?
Yeah, I'm all right.
What happened on your end?
I was in the building.
Were you? Is everyone from the house? Everyone?
And I just asked, did everyone get back? And they were like, yeah. That felt pretty good.
I left here right after the first collapse.
Turns out, Tony had been with Larry Burns the whole time, the probie and the retired chief. They were right there when Tower 1 came down.
I checked all the rigs. There were rigs crushed, paramedic trucks covered with rubble, flipped, fires burning everywhere, huge fires. That whole day, I just searched through rubble, lifting things up, checking underneath.
It was hard for him. Just very hard for him. He's only been a firefighter for, a couple of months. But he proved himself that day to all the guys, yeah.
There was so much that we didn't know about that first day. Who had attacked us, how, why. All we knew is that nothing would ever be the same.
Just a short while ago, Mayor Giuliani held a news conference saying it's important not to lash out in anger because of the attacks on the World Trade Center.
You all right, brother? Yeah, I'm all right. One of the things that sticks with me more than everything I saw is I sat down next to Ted. He looked real bad. I said, Tony, man, it was raining bodies.
The roof of the Marriott, we were on the roof of the Marriott. There was parts all over the fucking place. Legs, feet. It was nasty.
The man had been through hell.
Good evening. Today, our fellow citizens, our way of life, our very freedom came under attack in a series of deliberate and deadly terrorist acts.
It's a very depressed, dismal, miserable mood.
Secretaries, businessmen and women, military...
Hundreds of your firemen, thousands of civilians are gone. As quickly as you blow out a match, they're gone. Flip a switch, they're gone. That's it. Just buildings came down. Gone.
It's hard to believe they're not there. They're not there.
It did happen, right? It's not something that I'm going to close my eyes and open them again and I'm going to see the tower, right? It's not there.
Around midnight, we sent Tony up to lower the flag to half-mast again.
There's going to be a lot of pain to deal with in the future. A lot of guys, we all lost friends and family.
I don't want to ever have to put that thing at half-mast again for the rest of my career. That's it.
Until the recall ends, it's 24 on, 24 off, 24 on, 24 off.
We got word that we'd start digging in the morning. Some of the guys with wives and kids went home, just for a few hours. They knew it might be days before they'd see their families again.
My son was sleeping. I picked him up, and I put him in my bed, and I wanted him to be with me. And normally, I would take him out of my bed and put him in his own bed, but this night was the opposite. He didn't mind that. He actually had a big smile on his face, and it was wonderful to see that smile again.
Probably the best entrance I ever made to a place.
And the kids came out, and We just kind of all cried in one big hug. And it was, we just cried.
I got 1 2.5 right here. See a couple more guys down here. We'll start below line. Hey, just want to climb up there. Keep the 3.5 in the middle so we can...
Came back to the firehouse the next day. I couldn't wait to get back, actually, because I wanted to get down there. I figured, well, we're going to have plenty of people that are going to be trapped, for sure. We're going to get them out. We have to. We always do.
We're all alive. That's more than we could have possibly hoped for. So our job now is to go and do whatever needs to be done, and do it as much and as hard as we can for as long as they'll let us.
Some of the guys took a city bus down to what the media was already calling Ground Zero.
You guys got extra surgical gloves? You guys didn't put them in your pockets.
Some firemen called it the pile. For us, it was still the trade center, even if it was gone.
Hey, guys, if you hear 3 horns, that means something might be coming down. So keep your eyes open when you're walking around down there.
And I just realized something that I always wanted to deny, is how evil can be.
I need 5 firefighters, 19 and 12.
And we went down there and formed up companies, 5-man and an officer. We went to work right away, trying to look for survivors.
Try to get some buckets back here.
Guys were digging fast, passing those buckets quick. Digging frantically.
Bucket. Hey, watch your back, guys.
We'd be digging, and all of a sudden everybody would say, quiet. And the whole place would get quiet, and people would look.
Hello?
And then slowly they would go back to work and start again. And that's how things went down there.
We'd clear what we could by hand. Then the iron workers would come in, cut the steel beams, and lift them out. Then we'd just start digging again.
You have 2 110-story office buildings. You don't find a desk. You don't find a chair. You don't find a telephone, a computer. The biggest piece of a telephone I found was half of the keypad, and it was about this big. The building collapsed to dust. How are we supposed to find anybody in this, that there's nothing left of the building?
We found a body. It was a girl. She was dead. She was definitely dead. All her clothes had been burned off her. She looked to be pregnant. Some people thought maybe she was just bloated, but I don't think so. She was encased in rubble. And we had her about halfway uncovered. We had getting the body bag ready, and then they told us to run. And we ran. So I never got to see if they got her out. But would have felt good saying, all right, at least I got one person out. One family will be able to have a decent funeral.
Our first shift was 24 hours, and in all that time, there was one person pulled out alive. One. It was beyond discouraging. It was even hard to understand. Walking back to the firehouse, people were cheering us, but we sure didn't feel like heroes.
Every day, total strangers were showing up with supplies.
Somebody said that you could still use towels, so that's the end of the towels.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I know it's early in the operation here, but I just wanted to thank everyone for all the hard work that they've been doing. How we're here, only God knows. But again, guys, thank you so much. You have no idea how much love I
Check the lockers, bro. Check the lockers. All the lockers. Take whatever.
Listen, we tried to keep hope. But as days turned into weeks, we began to accept. There just wasn't anybody to find.
Hey, Chief.
Yes, sir.
We got another body over here.
Day after day, it pushed guys to their limit, maybe past it.
A lot of guys don't know if they're going to do the job anymore. I know it's either this or the Army now. And I like saving lives. I don't like taking them. But after what I saw, if my country decides to send me to go kill, I'll do it now.
Every night, the fire department would put out a list of firefighters confirmed dead. And every night, that list got longer.
It is with regret that the department announces the deaths of the following members. Battalion Chief John P. Williamson. Firefighter William Henry. Firefighter Eric T. Allen. Firefighter Manuel Mojica. Firefighter Warren.
We
We lost so many people, that everybody has lost dear friends, and not just one or two, but dozens.
Most days there was a memorial service for some guy you knew. Some days 2 or 3, some days 4. One of those services was for Kevin Pfeiffer, the chief's brother. He was last seen in the stairs of Tower 1, directing guys to the fastest way out of the building.
I would say that Chief Pfeiffer's brother saved my life. Saved a lot of lives.
And I remember walking down West Street and just remembering saying, you know, how much my brother and I used to love being downtown and doing this job. And how now I didn't love it anymore.
Eventually, we started going on runs again.
Feels good, though.
And trying our best to love the job again. But things will never be the way they were.
Do you want the new tape?
As for Jules and Gideon, it's strange how things work out. In the beginning, they came to me and they said, let's make a documentary about a boy becoming a man during his 9-month probationary period. Turns out Tony became a man in about 9 hours, trying to help out on 9/11. You know how you can tell that? He's not bragging about it.
Sent to Phil. We were the only ones on the ticket. Sent to Phil 1075.
Do I feel like it's given me more of a sense of self-worth? Yes. Has it made me a man? No. What's a man? I don't think it's so much the severity of an event that alters who you are. I think it's how you interpret it that changes who you are.
We keep forgetting how many people were saved on that day. On 9/11, firefighters saved 20,000 people.
To have that much respect for human life, I'm honored. Sometimes I still don't even think I'm worthy. But I am honored to be a fireman.
Concrete jungle where dreams are made of. There's nothing you can't In the very footprints of where the World Trade Center tower stood, the 2 memorial pools were dedicated in front of the families and friends of those who perished.
They were our neighbors, our friends, our husbands, wives, brothers, sisters, children, and parents. They were the ones who rushed in to help.
And my father, Sebastian Gorky, who I never met because I was in my mom's belly. I love you, Father.
Families were able to touch their loved ones, their names, reminding the world who they were and what happened.
Although words cannot ease the pain of these losses, paying tribute by recalling not just the horror of that day, but the heroism as well, can hopefully give you some comfort and stiffen the resolve of this nation.
My father, Alan Anthony Bevan.
Americans do not live in fear. We live in freedom.
We're inside the National 9/11 Memorial Museum, near the pools dedicated today. The museum is still under construction. It opens to the public September 11, 2012. You're looking at one of the most massive exhibits, 2 soaring steel tridents, both about 80 feet high, both weighing about 60 tons. These pillars were part of the facade of Tower 1, salvaged from the wreckage at Ground Zero. The museum will chronicle the events of that awful day, but also what led up to it. The hope is to lay the groundwork for a post-9/11 world without terrorism. Preserving the memories, honoring the fallen, just might help ease the burden for some of the survivors. 10 years later, it's a burden the men of Engine 7 Ladder 1 know all too well.
A decade after 9/11, the huge scar in the New York City skyline is finally beginning to heal.
It's ever-changing down there. New buildings are going up.
It's almost like spring. It's sprouting. It's a sign of new life, a sign of time passes and things are being built. This actually helps.
I'm happy that work is getting done finally. It took way too long to get started. It should be done already. It's nice to see that they left the footprint of both towers, so it's a sacred ground and people can come and show their respects.
We're going to build a building that's 1,776 feet in height to show the rest of the world. We may be down for a couple days, but we're not out, and we'll never be out.
The men of Engine 7 Ladder 1 have shown the same resilience. We're moving on. We have productive lives and loving families.
I cherish my granddaughter, my children, my wife.
But we've learned to live with a hard truth. 9/11 changed us. It will always be with us.
There were 2 planes. I saw the second one hit.
9/11 is a part of me. It's made me who and what I am now. It's something that will never go away.
Around 8:30, I believe the run came in.
Every day, there is a thought in my head from that day. If I left the building 2 minutes later, after they told me to leave, I may not be here right now.
You know, to say time heals all wounds, I don't think it is. In this tragedy.
9/11 was just yesterday to me.
Something could remind me, and it was yesterday.
Yesterday.
And tomorrow, it'll feel like just yesterday. And the week after, it'll feel like just like yesterday. Because the images are burnt into my brain, the tragedies, the senselessness of it, It's just overwhelming for me.
Keep your eyes open when you're walking around down there.
Ron Schmutzler, a captain on 9/11, is now a battalion chief in charge of 4 lower Manhattan firehouses, including 7 in 1.
It's difficult sometimes working down here, being within the shadow of the Trade Center. I had a lot of friends that I lost down there. I don't think I could ever explain to people what it was like that day.
5 months after the attacks, Captain Dennis Tardio, the man who led his men up into the North Tower, retired after 23 years of service.
She's the princess. In retirement, I'm fortunate enough to have a grandchild now, a 2-year-old little girl, Shayna. Why am I lucky enough to see her?
Oh, what a big girl.
When 3,000 children from this tragedy are parentless.
Jamal Braithwaite transferred to a Bronx firehouse shortly after 9/11. He rarely talks about that day.
I didn't do enough because I survived and other people died, so they must have did a great job or something like that. So I always felt that I didn't do enough.
You shouldn't have even come in here, man.
For guys like Ed Fahey, who left the fire department in 2008, the wounds are still raw.
I think about 9/11 every day. I'm not on the fire department no more because of 9/11. Not married no more because of 9/11. Everything. Everything. I look at the clock every day. Either I see 343, the amount of firemen that died. I see 9/11. I could look at a license plate in front of me at a traffic light, and I'll match up numbers that match 343. I kid you not. So every day. Change everything in my life. But like I said, on the other hand, I'm still here, so I battle with it. That's my life with 9/11.
He's not alone. An estimated 10,000 first responders still suffer from survivor's guilt, post-traumatic stress, and chronic depression.
Initially, when the fire department offered counseling, I would talk to them and nothing ever got accomplished. So that's when I started just taking care of myself. I definitely started drinking more. I started holding everything in. I won't tell people what's on my mind.
I personally knew about 100 of these guys. That's a lot of friends to lose in one day. I started going to counseling right away in 2001. It was only because of the horrific things that I saw and that my brain could not process. I mean, I saw people jumping from very high heights.
Hold on 1 second, please. I'm gonna die, aren't I? No. I'm gonna die. Live. I'm gonna die. We're gonna take 5 minutes.
And I saw people holding hands, jumping.
On 9/11, Steve Olson had climbed to the 37th floor of the North Tower when he heard the order to evacuate. He got out of the building with seconds to spare.
The sleepless nights, the night sweats, I wake up in the middle of the night, in a panic, and my wife's got to grab me and tell me I'm home and I'm safe.
Nearly 6 years after the attacks, Steve narrowly cheated death again when he became trapped in a fire that ripped through the partly demolished Deutsche Bank building, severely damaged on 9/11.
And 2 firefighters were killed there. It was Mayday after Mayday after Mayday. The only time I ever heard that many Maydays was on 9/11. I could see the black smoke going over my shoulders and being sucked down in between my legs, which is a bad sign for a firefighter that a flashover is imminent. I just jumped to the scaffolding, and I landed very hard.
Badly injured and emotionally shaken, Steve had fought his last fire. After a 20-year career, he retired in 2008.
I saw so many firefighters die in the line of duty, and it was taking a psychological toll on me.
Our probie on 9/11, Tony Benetatos, is working his way up the ladder and hopes to make lieutenant soon.
It was my intent when I got on the job to try to make a difference.
He did, with the fire department's Hazmat 1, and later with the decon unit.
If there is a terrorist event, you're going to have people who are exposed to toxins and chemicals. Our job is to get those chemicals off the people as quickly as possible.
At the firehouse, still a special place for us. Just a few guys from the original crew are left.
Time marches on. Sometimes you go there and it's all new faces. You know, you knock on the door and they ask, "Can I help you?"
Engine 7 Ladder 1 is sometimes called the Miracle House. Because we didn't lose a single man on 9/11. Last winter, it all changed. Randy Wiebeck, a lieutenant in Ladder 1, and a husband and father of 3, died in March from multiple myeloma, a deadly blood cancer most people get in their 70s and 80s. Randy was just 54.
When he got diagnosed, I couldn't believe it. Randy was like the biggest, strongest guy I knew. And I just didn't think anything could touch him. He was like my hero, and
this is Randy, working on the pile. Madeline is convinced her husband of 22 years died as a result of breathing the toxic dust.
right from the very beginning, his primary doctor totally believed it was from 9/11 and the toxic fumes and dust and everything that he was in. I mean, our time in the hospital, we got closer than ever. And I would just lay my heart on his heart, which is what I would always do, and just tell him how much I loved him.
Eat down! Hey, salute!
We're gonna bury a brave, dedicated man who was loved by all, especially his wife, Madeline, and his children. But we'll do that, and we'll do it with honor.
Even if you had told him, if you go down there, this is gonna happen to you, he would have went down there.
Randy worked on the pile with John O'Neill.
Well, after 20 years on the job, I retired in 2004, and I moved down south.
On the 5th anniversary of 9/11, John returned to Ground Zero, a place he had avoided after spending hundreds of hours searching for bodies and clearing debris.
When that building fell down, it just took something from me. And I can't say I've gotten it back. I don't want to talk about myself because the people that died that day can't. They can't talk. I wish I could speak for them, but I don't know what to say.
In September 2010, John was diagnosed with multiple cancers.
He never wanted to talk about how he was sick. He'd say, "Oh, Jimmy, don't worry. I've lived a good life. I got to be a New York City fireman."
John O'Neill died in February on Valentine's Day. He was 60 years old. We said our final goodbyes to John aboard the new fireboat 343, named to honor the men lost on 9/11.
John O'Neill, he helped you out a lot. He taught you a lot. Great guy. That's all I could say about John.
Ready, 2.
The sad and untimely deaths of John and Randy, and so many others, have made it all too clear. First responders who raced to save thousands of lives 10 years ago now need help themselves.
We're losing guys left and right every week, you know, because I'm back to going to funerals again every week, 10 years later.
We all share a growing fear that a gathering storm of disease will kill thousands more.
My outlook on life is, to be honest, it's short term. I have the I'm going to be dead soon anyway attitude.
In a heart-stopping 10.5 seconds, the trade towers disintegrated. Lead from 50,000 computers, mercury from 500,000 fluorescent lights, countless shards of glass, carpeting, plastic, asbestos, all of it pulverized into a superfine, toxic dust.
Couldn't see anything. It looked like nighttime, and we were choking.
You couldn't breathe.
It felt like the end of the world.
We attacked that 10-story pile of debris, thinking hundreds, maybe thousands of people had been buried alive.
You're looking for the people who are trapped under the pile. You're not really thinking about, well, what is this smoke that I'm breathing in going to do to me?
There'd be different color smokes coming up, purple and green and blue, and you had no idea what was burning down below.
We're dealing with an exposure to hundreds, if not thousands, of different toxins from the Trade Center, all ground up and mushed in together. However it could get on us or in us, it did.
2 days after the attacks, the Environmental Protection Agency said firefighters should be wearing respirators.
Even better, that's what these are all about. And it's important that they wear them.
But at the same time, EPA Chief Christine Whitman assured us the air was safe.
We have not seen any readings that indicate a health hazard. Everybody's safe at this point.
And 2 weeks later, we were told again, we shouldn't worry.
The air quality is safe and acceptable.
As we searched for survivors, we never heard a stern warning the air we were breathing was a dangerous, even deadly toxic brew.
The only thing that I remember them saying about the air quality is that there was nothing to worry about.
We had no mask. We had nothing. Eventually, they handed us all paper masks.
That were totally useless.
After 20 minutes, it's clogged up, it's sweaty, and you want to take it off.
A few weeks later, I ran into a respirator mask with the charcoal filters. Couldn't even find refills for it.
When the federal government announced that it was a safe site and that we didn't have to worry about any toxicity, we were not believing of that statement.
Bucket!
The message we've always tried to stay on target with is that there are a great number of unknowns.
The fire department first noticed something was wrong a month after the recovery operation began. Hundreds of firefighters coming off the pile told doctors they could barely breathe.
we started having units come down here for a full exam.
Great, excellent. Just like that, quick. Great, just like that. Continue to push. 3 more seconds.
There was a huge drop in pulmonary function after 9/11.
On average, those exposed to ground zero toxins had lost 12 years worth of normal lung capacity in just 1 year. No one knows for sure how many deaths have been linked to the toxic pile. The fire department puts the numbers at 50 to 100. The Firemen's Union insists they're much higher.
That number we know will grow because as the years go on, we are still seeing the impact of that day on our members.
I personally would like to see all those politicians go into those hospital rooms today and say sorry to all the first responders who are now dying one by one because the air was not safe.
A new federally funded fire department study conducted over 7 years claims firefighters who responded to the World Trade Center are suffering an increased rate of cancer.
My friends are getting sick. My friends are dying. And I get to wake up every morning and wonder, is today the day the shoe's going to drop on me?
After years of delays, Congress passed legislation to help those who are sick and dying. While respiratory and mental health conditions are covered, cancers are not. Congress had relied on an earlier study that failed to make the link between cancer and ground zero toxins. Firefighters feel abandoned.
You want to say they're the forgotten heroes.
Good evening. Tonight, I can report to the American people and to the world that the United States has conducted an operation that killed Osama bin Laden, the leader of Al-Qaeda.
I'm so happy that they finally, I know it's crazy to sound as mean, but somebody like that's just a maniac. He would just kill you, innocent people. His death did provide closure because he was the one that initiated all these plans against us, and we could say, well, we pay back. We finally got you.
10 years on, Tommy Spinard still loves what he does. He and Steve Rogers are training the next generation of firefighters how to handle the next 9/11.
All units, evacuate the building.
We got an aerial of this?
Joseph Pfeiffer, Chief of Counterterrorism and Emergency Preparedness, is making sure our new firefighters are well equipped to handle any emergency.
Today we've developed an electronic command pad that's able to track where we deploy units, and we share information amongst fire and police and New York City government, state, and for the federal government. That's a critical lesson that's been learned the hard way from 9/11.
At the World Trade Center site, Chief Pfeiffer stands on the very spot where the towers fell, the sacred ground where so many were lost, including his brother Kevin.
With all the memories of the people that died here, we hope for the future. A future that involves all of us.
So, who's going out tonight? It was very rough for me. You know, I went back to the counseling unit. I'm getting some of it finally to where I could put on the back burner. It makes me feel better.
Last year, I started going back to counseling. It helped me out a lot this time, so it eventually worked for me.
Can you do eat?
We hope we're around long enough to watch our families grow.
The things I cherish most now is family.
Eventually to get this out of my mind, somehow, come to terms with it, and see my kids have a great, happy life.
Well, I am now a married man. My wife's name is Jessica. My daughter's name is Alexandra. I love her more than anything in this life.
I have two amazing kids, which are absolutely the joy of my life.
And me, I'm an uncle now, and I love it.
In 2007, I retired from the New York City Fire Department.
I always loved being a fireman. I'll always consider myself a fireman till the day I die.
As we move forward, We hope the world will remember what firefighters did that day. What they do every day.
It's about firefighters. People who suddenly, without wearing a magical cape, just rush into a building on fire.
343 members gave their lives up to rescue others.
And they were all heroes, all those guys.
If it happened again, we would be down there again. We don't leave people.
I think that the legacy of 9/11 is one of bravery, human spirit, overcoming adversity. You look at all those people who lost their lives, and they were going to help people. So it has to be a positive. Yeah.
Feels good, though.
But Tony might have said it best a decade ago, when the boy became a man on 9/11.
The legacy of the Trade Center should not be the death. It should be to show humanity's resiliency. The legacy of the Trade Center should be life and humanity.
What we witnessed here on 9/11, the unwavering humanity of the firefighters and all the first responders, we still see every day. They represent the best of us. Their sacrifice is woven into our history. Now a new chapter is being written. We're on the 30th floor of 4 World Trade Center. It's just one of the new buildings under construction at this historic site. Transforming this hallowed ground once again into a living, thriving center of global commerce has posed unique challenges. Honoring history while reinventing the future is never easy, but it's the challenge we must continue to meet. I'm Robert De Niro. Good night.
The valley is hushed, and the flowers are all dying. The meadow here is white with the winter snow. Lone as I stand in the place where Danny's lying, I say a silent prayer. Somehow I know He hears me there. So soft I thread above him. So now he sleeps in peace. He hears Danny's voice no more. Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the flowers are dying. 'Tis you, must go and I must bide. But come your back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valley's hushed and white with snow. 'Tis I'll be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, I love you so. And when you come, and all the flowers are dying, and I am dead, as dead I well may be, you'll come and find the place where I am lying, and kneel and say an Ave there for me, and I will hear the soft you thread above me, and on my grave will warmer, sweeter be, for you will bend and tell me that you love me, and I shall sleep in peace until you come to.
A scholarship fund has been set up to support the families of all New York City firefighters. Your donation can help shape a future.
The 9/11 Memorial will honor my partner and the officers who responded that morning.
It's for my brother.
And my 343 brothers who didn't make it.
It's about hope for the future.
So we always remember September 11th.
For my husband who never came home.
And the first responders who saved my life.
This shows the world that we can rebuild.
That we are united.
And that we are strong.
Because the best of humanity can overcome the worst hate.
It's for all the heroes like my dad.
This year, the National September 11th Memorial opens in New York City. Join us to honor, remember, and reunite. To learn more or to reserve your visit, go to 911memorial.org.